I want to run you through a few things today on how to understand chronic pain a little bit better and also give you some actionable steps so that you can either break the vicious cycle or make sure you never get in that cycle altogether. So the first thing we want to talk about is really understanding chronic pain and the effect that it has on people. And so what we do here at the Functional Movement Club is we help people get out of pain. And it is crazy to think that they reckon anything up to 9 out of 10 people in Western world will experience pain at some time. And if that pain goes unchecked for more than 3 months, it then progresses into what we call chronic pain. So chronic pain is pain that you've had for greater than 3 months. It's not really going away. And the problem you run into with this chronic pain scenario is your brain actually starts to change to think that being in pain is normal and that the normal stuff or the good stuff or the helpful stuff that you should be doing for your body actually becomes painful, and it becomes a whole nother kettle of fish to try and treat. So if you've experienced pain, which I'm sure everyone has at some stage in their life, you will realize that there is a physical cost to it. So the early warning signs are, pain, discomfort, muscle tightness. Then it progresses into decreased range of mobility, fatiguing or tiring quicker than you probably should. And then finally you sort of move into pain and discomfort. And I think that's usually, and then the pain and discomfort usually gets worse and worse until you actually have to start giving up stuff that you love doing. And so the problem is you usually seek treatment a little bit too late where you're in the pain side. Ideally, you want to start doing it when you're starting noticing muscle weakness or range of motion restrictions or just generalized tightness. But apart from that, we want to make sure we get on top of that pain early so that it doesn't become a chronic issue. A few of the other things that probably aren't as well recognized or known are the emotional stress that chronic pain has on you. So like me personally, whenever my back gets a little bit stiff or sore or I'm tired from doing a really big workout, I know I'm in a grumpy mood. I'm a bit shorter, my fuse is a little bit less, I'm angry, things start to tick me off, like driving in traffic that don't normally tick me off. The other things are it starts to eat into, me wanting to play with the boys, like my 2 boys, or even not wanting to do stuff that my wife asked me to do. And so, that's the emotional or mental cost because it's just draining that you got something else that you need to think of when your life is already so busy. And then the other things are if you get stuck in that chronic pain cycle, is you start to wonder, is my body broken? Will it ever be the same again? Can I get back to the things that I love doing? Or do I have to give up on them and start looking for other things, which can carry a whole nother range of emotional burdens? I also touched on it briefly, the social costs of chronic pain. So if you're in pain, you don't want to do stuff, you don't want to go out and be social, you don't want to hang out with friends. A common one we hear in clinic is, I don't want to go out. I didn't want to go out to the pub, or I didn't want to go to this birthday party because I knew I would have to stand a lot and standing always irritates my back. And I reckon that's a really crappy thing to experience because realistically as humans, we want to be social creatures. We want to be around people, who give us energy and pump us up. And so it is horrible that chronic pain can start to affect the social aspect of your life. The other big elephant in the room that we notice a lot of people sort of start to drop off that acute treatment or early on treatment is the economic cost. So we get it a lot, majority of our clients come through, we're not the first practitioner they've seen. They've usually seen multiple practitioners over long periods of time who haven't gotten them the results that they've wanted. So usually a typical thing we hear is, I got a little bit better initially, but then it plateaued and I never really got fully better. Or I got better, I went back to doing the activity that I wanted to do before and it got painful again. And so I just gave up. And so that is a massive cost to bear, especially with the cost of living and everything else going up. You want to find something that gets to the root cause, you want to get there as quick as possible, and you want to do it in the most efficient manner possible or an efficient way. And the easiest way and the most efficient way of doing that is actually looking at the root cause and not just addressing those symptoms on the surface level. And so the vicious cycle that a lot of people get caught up in is they get in pain, they don't want to do stuff. Because they do less stuff, they become deconditioned, they get weaker, they move poorer, and then they end up getting more and more pain and discomfort. And so, like we said, a couple of reasons why people come in and see us is or they ignore their acute pain and progresses into chronic pain is they think the pain will go away. And yes, to a certain extent, the physical pain might go away. But the problem with that is your brain is pretty smart and it just doesn't like to be in pain. And so the pain doesn't really go away. It just manifests or sort of morphs into a different type of pain or discomfort. And so what you'll see is you start to get compensations in movement patterns. It might be something as simple as you sprain your ankle and then you start walking with a limp. And so your ankle doesn't hurt anymore, but all of a sudden you're limping along. Then you start to get hip pain, then you start to get back pain. And then the next reason why people do it is, like we said before, they start to get some symptomatic relief, but then it doesn't really get better completely. They don't have the financial means to continue on with treatment, or to be honest with you, it's a waste of money anyway, if it's plateaued and it's not really getting any better. And so they just stop and they live with it and they put it down to, I'm just getting old, it's just something I'm gonna have to live with. And so that's why at the Functional Movement Club, we run through our 5-step process of getting to know you. So we want to know what's happened in the past. We want to know your holistic or your whole exercise history, because often what we find is to get to the root cause, you don't just want to treat the symptoms. You want to see what's the injury timeline, how things happened. And a prime example for me is a colleague of mine that I went to uni with came in to see us yesterday, and he was complaining of some shoulder issues. So he was getting, pain at the front of his shoulders. And as we started to unpack things, he had some, stability issues through his shoulder, which meant which was because his serratus anterior or muscle underneath his shoulder wasn't working in the proper sling through his core. And then we take another step back and we go, why doesn't his core work properly? Oh, it's because of his pelvic position. And then why is his pelvis sort of anteriorly rotated, or why isn't his core firing and that? And it was because his quads were super dominant. So his quads were way more dominant than his glutes. And then that led to his hips tilting forwards. And then we got all the way back to in 2014, so going back 10 years ago, he had an ACL reconstruction on that side. And so what's happened over time, even though he did the full rehab, he acknowledged to us he didn't ever get full knee extension. And so that lack of knee extension meant that he over-recruited his quads. The over-recruitment of his quads meant that he got that imbalance between his glutes and his hamstrings and his quads, which then tilts his pelvis, which then puts his core under more strain, which then means his serratus anterior can't stabilize the shoulder. And so that's why he gets the bicep pain. And so that's why sometimes it's not as simple as oh, my shoulder hurts, so I treat my shoulder. You want to look at the actual root cause and go back through that timeline of incidents. So then you can actually start to rehab, his foot, ankle, hip much better, which then sets his core on. And that means straight away his shoulder doesn't get overloaded. And then the next thing that we like to do is we like to set specific goals. So setting goals that are specific to you to make sure that they're actionable. So then it might be, something like getting out and going for walks to clear your mindset. It might be doing calf raises whenever you are playing with your kids. But setting specific goals so that we know that we're progressing along the right way. And also just to make sure that we're progressing in general towards the person that we want to be. Next, we show you what to focus in on. So often, sometimes the shiny thing or the most appealing thing isn't the thing we need to focus in on. We had a client the other day who came in and he's been experiencing, plantar fasciitis, which is super common. And he went on a trip to Europe and he was walking around a lot more than he used to. So his heel pain flared up. And we let him know that he just needs to strengthen up his foot. So he doesn't want to overload it, but he wants to strengthen up his foot. And so even though he's oh, I've been doing the calf raises for weeks and my foot's getting a bit better, but it's not completely gone. And so we told him like, oh, your foot won't get better until you start doing plyometrics, which is the next stage of the rehab. But the fact that you can walk around pain-free, you can get out of morning in the bed pain-free, like they're all signs that you are still making progress and you're ready for the next phase, rather than him being discontent, saying this doesn't work, moving on. And so that's why knowing what to focus in on is super important, and having someone that can guide you and redirect you to focus on the right areas to get you to the right area. And really that comes down from building a nice solid plan. And that's where the getting to know you, setting specific goals, showing you what to focus in on is. It's just a plan to say, hey, this is where we're going. These are some key milestones that we should be hitting. And if we're not hitting those milestones, then we need to either change our plan, we need to get further imaging, or we need to do something a little bit different. And then the final thing we really do, I think that is the most important thing, is we help keep our clients accountable. So checking in regularly, making sure that everything's okay. And you don't have to fix everything all in one day. I always love the saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. It actually took over 11,000 years to build. And it's a process. You might get a little bit of the piece of the puzzle, but then as you sort of get more information, then it gives you a better indication of what's going on, and you can continue to move down that path of discovery, especially for like more complex issues. So stuff that you've had for long periods of time or previous injuries that you've had. So I hope that starts to give you a bit of an idea of some of the unexpected bits of chronic pain and how to make sure you're not getting in that vicious circle. I think sometimes, and then also a little framework that you can work through to start to work through your chronic pain. I want to take a moment to mention though, like often the first step is the hardest, and it is it's acknowledging that you are in pain or that you do have some kind of pain or discomfort. And the tricky thing is taking that first step. And so as long as you are continually building your awareness by watching videos like this and doing more research, you're already making that first step, and you're gradually learning and growing and progressing, even if it feels like sometimes you're not moving quick enough or fast enough. I wanted to direct you, if you would like more information on this or on how to treat some more specific conditions, please go over and check out our website. Like, we have a bucket load of blog articles, we have a bucket load of videos on YouTube that you can check out to help with more specific conditions. On our website, we also have a heap of freebies, such as like ebooks and stuff that you can start to work through at your own pace. So I would suggest that you go and check them out. And finally, if you would like some more specific help with it, we also do online consults and online mobility programs. So you check them out. You can access them via the website as well. But I hope this provides you with a little bit more information. And I want to leave you just with like a Chinese proverb I've always loved is, young man sacrifices his health to make money, and then old man spends all his money trying to buy back his health. And you can save yourself a lot of time and effort if you just focus in on your health early on, and then that leaves you time to enjoy those moments with friends and loved ones. Take it easy. If you found this valuable, please like, subscribe, comment, or share it with someone that you think might find it valuable.